What if, at this very moment, you could restart your life with a single click, carrying all your memories back to an ordinary morning 10 or 20 years ago? Would you avoid the choices that sent your life off course, or correct the mistakes that still wake you in the middle of the night? Most of us have entertained some version of that fantasy. It is one of humanity's oldest longings, and one of the most irresistible premises in time travel fiction. Return to the past with full memory, rewrite every regret, and build a better life from the ruins of the first. But today, I want to tell you a sobering truth. It may not be that we simply haven't built a time machine yet. The very laws of the universe may erect an insurmountable barrier across space-time. Why would the universe be so merciless? Let us descend into the deepest forbidden zones of physics to find out. In 1992, Stephen Hawking proposed a radical idea called the Chronology protection conjecture, almost as if there were a stern cosmic time police determined to eliminate any possibility of traveling back to the past. His point was stark. The laws of physics may actually conspire to prevent macroscopic objects from returning to the past, like a universe-scale firewall built into reality itself. In 2009, he even hosted a famous party for time travelers, but he sent out the invitations only after the party had already taken place. His logic was simple. If future humans eventually master time travel, surely someone would see the invitation and travel back to attend. The result? Not a single guest. Of course, this was not a rigorous proof, but it hinted at a fundamental prohibition. Hawking believed that any attempt to create closed time-like curves would trigger catastrophic physical reactions. For example, quantum radiation might amplify without bound and instantly destroy a wormhole, or the required energy could warp spacetime until it collapses. This is not merely a technological limitation. It is a built-in self-destruct mechanism of the cosmos itself. What if we imagine finding a key? Einstein's special relativity offers a crucial insight. Time and space form a unified whole. In this four-dimensional space-time, the motion of any object can be understood as a space-time velocity, always distributed between motion through time and motion through space. Imagine you have a fixed speed budget. When you are completely at rest, your entire budget is spent moving through time, so time flows normally for you. When you begin to move, say, driving a car, you must take part of that budget and pay for motion through space. The faster you move through space, the more of your budget is spent there, and the less remains for the experience of time passing. This is why high-speed clocks tick more slowly. They are, in a sense, spending their temporal flow to pay for spatial motion. The faster you fly, the less time budget you have left. This is what we call time dilation, and it allows us to travel into the future. But to exceed the speed of light, an object's motion through space would have to surpass the ultimate limit set by relativity. At that point, the mathematics of Einstein's equations begins to behave strangely. The quantity that normally describes the flow of time along an object's path ceases to behave like ordinary time at all. In some interpretations, such motion would allow signals to arrive before they were sent, effectively reversing the order of cause and effect. In other words, a faster-than-light traveler could appear to move backward in time. In theory, it might return to the past. At first glance, this seems like a perfect time machine, but the universe has imposed a double curse. First, accelerating any object with mass to the speed of light requires infinite energy, an absolute impossibility. Second, even if there existed hypothetical faster-than-light particles known as tachyons, theory suggests they would shatter causality. Imagine this scenario. At 3 o'clock this afternoon, you receive a message from tomorrow warning you, don't go out, there will be a car accident. You stay home, and the accident never happens. But if the accident never occurred, what caused the warning to be sent in the first place? Cause and effect collapse into a loop with no clear origin. This is the kind of paradox that faster-than-light communication could create in Einstein's universe. In certain reference frames, a message traveling faster than light could arrive before it was ever sent. The order of cause and effect would break down, and the very logic of time itself would begin to unravel. Among all concepts of time travel, the most captivating is perhaps the elegant mathematical solution hidden in Einstein's equations, the wormhole. Imagine the universe as a sheet of paper. A wormhole is like folding the paper and piercing it with a pen, creating a shortcut between two distant points. In principle, this allows us to traverse billions of light years instantly. Even more intriguingly, if you accelerate one mouth of a wormhole to near light speed, time dilation would cause it to age more slowly. A time difference would arise between the two ends. If you enter through the later mouth, you might emerge from the earlier one, apparently a time machine. But the devil of physics is always in the details. To keep a wormhole open, you would need an extraordinary building material, exotic matter with negative energy density. Such matter would generate repulsive gravity to counteract collapse. While we have observed hints of negative energy on quantum scales, such as in the Casimir effect, collecting enough to support a macroscopic wormhole seems nearly impossible. Even worse, quantum theory tells us wormholes are inherently unstable. A single photon attempting to pass through could trigger a violent feedback in space-time structure, amplified exponentially, destroying the wormhole instantly. Thus, the wormhole becomes a perfect metaphor. Mathematics permits its existence, but physics forbids its passage. It is a mirror reflecting the central dilemma of time travel. Every door that seems to open onto the past is locked from behind. Facing these barriers, modern physics offers two seemingly clever escape routes. One is quantum entanglement, the ghostly action at a distance. Unfortunately, entanglement cannot transmit information. It is more like a pair of dice sharing a destiny, incapable of sending a signal back to yesterday. The other is more radical, the many worlds interpretation. Each time you make a choice, the universe splits into multiple branches. In this framework, you might jump into a branch resembling your past, but that is not your past. It is a new parallel reality. You cannot alter what has already happened. You merely wander through infinite possibilities. This is less time travel than exile into parallel universes. What we truly long for is not to become a stranger in another world, but to heal the regrets embedded in our own timeline. Even if we somehow overcame relativity's limits or discovered exotic matter for wormholes, we would still face the universe's most fundamental and unforgiving ruler. The second law of thermodynamics, the principle of entropy increase. Entropy measures disorder. In an isolated system, total entropy never decreases. It either increases or remains constant. The universe as a whole is irreversibly moving toward greater disorder. This is the deepest physical origin of time's arrow. We experience time flowing from past to future because everything evolves in the direction of increasing entropy. Ice melts, fragrance diffuses, stars burn out, life ages. Now imagine what going back to the past truly requires. It is not merely changing position. It means restoring the entire state of a system to a previous moment, a shattered cup reassembling itself. Dispersed perfume molecules returning to the bottle, every cell in your body, every metabolic trace, reverting precisely to its state 10 years ago. In essence, it demands a local decrease in entropy. Picture the universe as a constantly shuffling machine. Every interaction is another shuffle, making the arrangement more random. Returning to the past would mean not only stopping the shuffle, but placing every card back into its exact previous position when the machine has long forgotten the order. Reversing this process would require enormous energy and perfect information about every past state of the system, information likely dissipated into cosmic background radiation, or whose retrieval would itself create even greater disorder. Thus, the second law erects a final philosophical barrier. The directionality of time may not be a manipulable variable, but an inseparable feature of cosmic evolution. What we call the passage of time is the grand narrative of the universe transitioning toward more probable, more disordered states, a narrative projected into our consciousness. In that story, there is no page you can turn back. So returning to the past is very likely forbidden by physics, but this is not a deficiency. It is precisely because time is irreversible that causality holds, that order emerges from chaos, that life evolves from simplicity to complexity. If time were freely reversible, evolution, memory, even existence itself would lose meaning. Physics tells us, with utmost rigor, that time's one-way direction is not a limitation, but the very precondition for possibility. Perhaps every attempt to return to the past creates a new parallel universe. In that branch, you may correct every regret and live a perfect life. But here, in our universe, the version of you who sighs at midnight, shaped by regrets and scars, still exists. You have not disappeared. You have merely created another version of yourself. Even if parallel universes exist, would that perfected life still truly be yours? Our personality, our memory, and even our wounds are shaped by choices that cannot be fully undone. The mistakes we could not correct, the losses we could not recover, the accidents we never could have foreseen, these are part of what carve the contours of who we are. If every regret were erased, would something essential be erased with it? Would a flawlessly corrected life begin to resemble a script more than a life genuinely lived? And perhaps this leaves us with not only a physical conclusion, but a human one. If the past cannot be revisited, then the irreversibility of time may be part of what gives our choices their weight. Because life offers no true rewind, what we do still matters. Because the future remains unwritten, effort is never meaningless. Perhaps that is one of the universe's strangest gifts, a one-way road with no return. And maybe that is why each moment matters, because it will never come again.